Yeah, he's going to kill some fools.
Yeah, dude. Jason Todd's a Bulbasaur main. Did you know?
I feel like Jason Todd would be a Charmander.
Like,
Charmander guy.
But I feel like that'd be the like obvious answer.
Obvious choice.
Yeah. So like he's
a Bulbasaur guy.
I do think he would absolutely be a Charmander, but
yeah,
this is funnier.
Yeah.
Because who the fuck gives a shit about Bulbasaur?
Yeah.
Except for Colin.
Colin's the only person I know who's like, nah, Bulbasaur on main always.
And Colin's wrong.
He is.
It's Charmander, then fucking
Ben Squirtle, yeah.
Also, I watched Wish.
Oh, is that on Disney Plus now? Okay, I'll watch it because I didn't know it came out already.
God, it's so bad. It's so bad.
But yeah, I'll watch it.
The only good part of that movie is the music.
Great.
And one of the songs isn't even that good. But like every other song, pretty solid.
Okay, so I'll watch
Everything
it.
else about it bad.
I'll watch it. I'll be an educated hater.
Yeah.
After we'll start the episode because I can say all this on air anyway.
Okay.
Ready?
All right, welcome to the Vaguely Anime Podcast. I am one of the hosts this afternoon, Michael, followed by other host, Kat. And by Kat, I mean Sage.
You said Kat was such full confidence too?
I think my brain just went into... I was thinking about Anime Club.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her about anime earlier today, and so my brain just went anime and followed the path, the one anime conversation I've had
the
today.
neuro connection.
Yeah. Sage.
Yes, that's me.
As Kat is still gone and we are pre-recording.
Yes.
So, anyway, we are here to talk about the greatest movie ever made. I should have had this idea about 2 months ago when this airs because I thought about it after April Fool's Day already happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, Sage, I was literally about to get in the shower. And I was like, I have an idea. I'm going to take a shower, think on it. And I took a shower. In the shower, I was like, nope, this thought's still there. Hey, Sage, I have an idea that you're going to hate.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, boy. What?
Yeah, Mike, literally no other message beforehand. Just, hey, I have an idea and you're going to hate it. And I was like, now what?
And I was like, we should watch the 2010 Last Airbender movie and talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think you said that is the worst idea you've ever had. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to say this right off the bat. This movie is an hour and 43 minutes with credits.
Sure is.
Okay. I need you to know it took me 6 hours to watch this movie.
Okay.
An hour and 43 minutes with credits. Obviously, I didn't watch the credits.
Right.
So let's give it like an hour and 35, 10 minutes of credits.
Sure.
6 hours to get through it. Because I was taking notes while I was watching.
Yeah, we did both take notes.
And so I kept obviously having to pause to elaborate on my thoughts. But then everything was just so slow in the movie itself. I had to take several breaks. I had to get up, like get out of my chair, put my laptop to the side, go like eat a snack, watch something else, come back.
Yep.
And then towards the end of the movie, it was taking so long to get through. And going, like, this movie feels like, I think it was the experience of watching, like, the Titanic for the first time.
But you don't like the Titanic,
I
right?
don't.
Yeah, okay.
But I didn't know the Titanic was, like, 4 hours long.
Sure is.
So the first time I watched it, I was like, surely it will end eventually. And it just kept going and going and going. That's how this movie feels, but it's a regular, like, feature film length.
Right.
And I think I watched the last 20 minutes at, like, 1.25 speed because it's on YouTube for free.
Fuck, is it?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube for free.
Fuck.
You paid to watch this movie?
Yeah.
I literally looked up when you were like, oh, this is, like, my idea. I immediately was like, okay, where can I stream this so I don't have to give these people money? And then I saw it was on YouTube for free with ads. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll watch some fucking ads to get through this movie.
Fuck.
And not give them money.
I rented it. So it was like $2.
But still.
Still, yeah.
That's $2 that are going to hurt your soul.
Yeah. I do want to say straight off the bat before we go into roasting the ever-loving fuck out of this movie. There are two things to note. One, soundtrack is good. I think that should be noted.
I do have a couple of notes about the score.
But like the score is usually universally touted as being a good part of the movie.
I think the music in general is good, but I don't think they use it correctly. I'll say that.
Okay. And second, say what you will about M. Night Shyamalan. I'm not his biggest fan. But it has been recorded that a lot of studio interference came into this movie.
Right.
And it became so prevalent that it's been cited. It's not confirmed or anything because, as directors and stuff, it's a political world. You're not going to really say shit to throw yourself under the bus. But
Right.
it has been stated that it became so prevalent that he basically just went, fuck it. All right, I'll do whatever and collect the paycheck and leave. So it's not all on him. I just want to get that out there. Say what you will about him, but it is at least heavily rumored that it is just it became a train wreck due to heavy studio interference.
So I've heard that as well. And yes, like a movie is not made by one man.
Yeah.
Okay, he just has the unfortunate title of being like, the name attached to this.
Like the fact that Katara's white because the people funding it just were like, you're using my daughter.
However, I do have a problem with at least his
Style.
preparation for this movie, as he didn't even watch the entire show before they started making this movie. He had only watched seasons 1 and 2. I'm like, boy, it's 61 episodes. They're 20 minutes a piece. Mm-hmm. You couldn't plow through it to finish the story to get the context that you need, which is like pretty fucking important. Mm-hmm. And you were expecting to get at least 2 sequels out of this. Would have been good prep work in my mind.
Yeah, but honestly, even if he did, let's be honest, they would have tore it apart anyway.
Right. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. There are still some Shyamalan stuff to this that's like,
yeah.
But I will put more blame. I will say, because I don't know which to blame, I will focus more blame towards executives.
Studio, yeah.
Than I will Shyamalan, even if I don't really like him as a director. I'm going to shift this problem to the executives.
Yeah.
Because there is no solid evidence to say whose real fault it is, but it seems like way more so it's the executives. And fuck them. I mean,
yeah.
Again, they're the reason we have a white Katara.
A white Sokka?
Yeah, well, because once a white Katara was made, you had to make everyone else white.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you were you were stuck there. You couldn't just make one family white. That'd be weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
or one child.
So what's funny about especially the casting choices that they had, Sokka and Katara being cast white in of itself is weird.
Well, yeah.
But then they didn't go whole hog, because all the background actors, at least in especially within their village, are all Asian.
Yeah.
Which makes it stand out even more. I'm like, okay, if you didn't want this to be such a deal, you should have made everyone in this village white, because then it could be okay, maybe some white settlers were like, yo, let's chill at the South Pole.
Right. Well, because originally Zuko was also cast by, I forget the actor's name, but also a white guy.
Oh my God.
And once Katara was white, they were like, we can't have two. So that's when Dave Patel came on. They were like, all right, everyone
Dev
in
Patel?
the fire. Yeah, what did I say?
Dave.
Oh, Dev Patel. Sorry. Dev Patel came on. They were like, all right, Fire Nation, Indian.
Yeah.
Which, fine. I mean, whatever.
It's I think most of the Fire Nation actors are Middle Eastern and Indian.
Yeah.
Which is a weird choice, but sure.
I mean, yeah, I get they're supposed to be Japanese, but I mean, hey, look, if you're gonna, it's still not all white people,
right?
I think that's a win. Let's be honest.
I guess,
but
they're all the villains.
I mean,
which I'm okay, that was a choice.
But all the villains would have been Japanese. I mean, no matter what would have happened, somebody would have been the villain.
No, I know, but you know what I mean, I think it would have been smarter, at least in my opinion, if you were going to go down this route of casting white actors to play mainly Asian characters.
Influence characters, yeah.
I think you had to either everyone is white and you just throw yourself into it whole hog, commit to being wrong, or you make everyone somewhat Asian.
I don't know if I agree with that statement. I think it's much better to have the diversity, especially I don't think M. Night Shyamalan is going to be going and anyway, I'm going to make because I believe he's of Indian descent. I don't want to speak out of the term, but I believe he is. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's out here being anyway, I'm just going to make everyone that's
all the villains.
Yeah. I don't think that's what the point is.
I don't think so either, but it definitely sometimes reads like that. And I'm like, this was a choice.
Yeah.
That
He's
guys
Indian and American.
made.
It's still representation. I don't think it's inherently malicious in any way. I think it's just once the actor was cast, he was like, all right, well then we'll just make the entire nation Indian and Indian inspired, and I think that's fine.
I don't know. I just think I have basically a lot of problems with the casting choices, and that is in part with just you casted people that were so not appropriate for these roles.
Love
Dev
Patel, but
actor standpoint.
Yeah.
Not even so much what they look like physically, but literally nobody brought anything to this movie.
Sure, the guy that plays Aang looks pretty
Ringer.
like Aang, but maybe you cast someone not just because they have a black belt in martial art, but because they can act.
Yeah. And Dev Patel is a good actor. I actually like Dev Patel in
I'm very
other
excited
roles.
to go see Monkey Man, which as of recording this is already technically out. I think it's early screening today.
But oh my god, they give him literally nothing to work with.
But nobody in this movie has anything to work with.
Which I guess doesn't help. Maybe that hides the really bad acting.
No.
Because
not really.
I'm sorry, but Nicola Peltz, I'm so happy she decided to transition from being an actress to being a socialite.
Isn't she still in a lot of movies?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure when I looked her up, she's still in a lot of movies.
Really? Because she is horrible in this movie.
Oh, well, yeah.
Did she get any better? I don't think so. The only reason why I even know who she is because she's married to David Beckham's son. And her parents are billionaires.
Good for her, I guess. If I could just do that, sure, I would.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so... overview, I guess. Anyway, we should probably get into specifics since you have a mountain of stuff and I have other stuff too. Where do we want to start?
So
I was going to start from the filmmaking perspective.
Sure, that's a great place to start.
Because this movie, everybody knows fails as an adaptation.
Yeah.
But it also fails as a movie.
Yeah.
It fails so intrinsically as her last name is Beckham.
Yeah.
Wild. It just fails so hard in terms of filmmaking also. And yeah, she was in a movie this year.
Wow.
She's in quite a lot of stuff.
I didn't know that.
None of this stuff looks like it's rated very well, but she is in it.
She is in it. She's just there for funsies. I don't think she needs the money.
She's in the Bates Motel show. Everyone liked that show, didn't they?
I don't know. I never watched it.
It's got an 8.1, so it's the highest rated thing on here.
Mm.
Anyway,
filmmaking.
Yes. So just to start, the camera work in this movie.
Oh my god.
Is horrendous. There are random shots that the camera is eating people's faces. It is so ungodly close for no reason. And then there's a lot of, because Shyamalan likes handheld, so I get that. But there's a scene very early on where it's Aang waking up, which is just hard cuts. He was laying on the ground passed out. Hard cut. He's already getting up and
he's
putting
in
stuff
the
on
village.
In the igloo. There's no introduction, nothing. He's just all right. Well, he's up. And the shot is it's his back. He's going, and then the camera turns and Katara enters the room, and then it gets backs itself up and looks like it fisheyes itself to get everyone in frame. And I don't think they got any coverage for any conversation they ever did, because there are so many conversations where there is just one camera and there's nothing to cut to, which means all of the really bad acting where they take pauses in between each line for 30 seconds can't be cut out, because you're not having there's cross dialogue, like cross-cut dialogue where they forget to cross-cut.
Yeah.
Because Sokka at one point just has his back to the camera and you can't see what he's saying, and he's talking, and then like he'll say something and then Katara will be like, yeah, we should do, and it's like, you see, if you had another camera, you would cut to the view of Sokka talking, and then you would cut to the view of Katara, and you'd cut out the dead air.
Yeah, you pick it up right away, so it felt more natural.
So like, and there's so many things where it's like you clearly did not have another camera, and you really would have benefited from one more camera getting these actors.
But what's also so strange about this whole, especially, I think this is also like in terms of line delivery, because everyone talks really slow
and not like a human,
and very like they're reading a Wikipedia article.
The way I described it was Shyamalan went into the future, put the script into ChatGPT, and then went, all right, and went back to the past and went, here's the script.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even think Shyamalan wrote the script, so that's, whoever.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah. But like, in again with the camera work, it's so wild because like there are multiple times where characters will say something or answer something and they do it off screen. You don't learn Aang's name until 18 minutes into the movie. You don't learn Sokka's name, the second person on camera, until 8 minutes in. Yeah. You don't learn Aang's name until 18 minutes, and you hear it when he's off screen. Katara goes, hey, what's your name? And he just off screen, not anywhere near in frame, goes, monks called me Aang.
But what's actually even worse than that we don't learn the literal main character's name until 18 minutes into your 1 hour, 40-minute movie, is right before, hey, what's your name? They have this like transition from the Southern Water Tribe to the Southern Air Temple, and it's Katara voiceover.
Sure is.
She literally in the voiceover is like, Aang took us to his temple. Okay, transition over. Now we're in the scene proper on location. Hey, what's your name?
Yep.
This movie was made in the wrong order. It's really weird.
They use narration to a criminal degree. and the fact that it is all narrated by Katara, who can't emote to save her life.
They also use narration to describe things that are happening on the screen.
Yep.
Why are you telling me what you're showing me on the screen? I have eyes. I can see what's happening on the screen. This does not need to be said out loud in like a voiceover narration. Like, narration is only for information that is like critical and important that the characters can't naturally give either to the audience or each other because they need to know it.
This movie has never heard of show, don't tell.
Holy shit. It's actually insane.
It is only tell, don't show.
It just makes no sense to me. I will say, like, this whole experience was pretty terrible.
I think this is the first time I ever actually watched the movie.
And I was trying to be as objective as I could be, right? But I don't think I've seen a movie made out of order before. Like, they have this shot, like, the first time we see the Fire Lord, he's just perusing through a hallway.
Just some guy.
No presence, no, like, grand entrance. He literally just walks through a random hallway. It's so strange. But then, later in the movie, we get this...
And Zhao's fucking... Fire Lord, you know how I found that
that
library that nobody said existed, but I found it and we found some scrolls?
As you know!
You know, the way people talk.
Holy
you know
shit.
that thing that I found that nobody said existed, but I found, and anyway we found scrolls?
But yeah. But then later in the movie, which is I think the second scene with Fire Lord Ozai, is a scene where you don't see his face the entire scene, and it's this like over the shoulder shot where he's like 3/4 of him is black, so it's like his shoulders here, and then you see like his hand like tapping impatiently, and then because he's sitting elevated, it makes Zhao look very small, you know, like because he's the Fire Lord, imposing.
Yeah.
Intimidating, power, presence. That's what it's supposed to be. But why the fuck was that later and not the first scene with him to show some presence? Instead, no, the first scene is just random guy in random hallway.
Yep. Sure is. Then there's like random shots where it's like the same thing where when Aang is on Zuko's boat for the first time and they're doing the test, which by the way, I know this is going into the adaptation territory, but the Avatar test.
Yeah.
What makes that situation special? That first of all, how do you test wind? I want to know how you test air. How do you know that air is getting drawn to them? 2, what makes that situation special? Or is water always pooling towards the Avatar at all times? Are rocks all standing on end at all times? Is fire all getting bigger around him at all times?
Well,
and
we know
just
that
don't
can't
see
be
that.
true.
But what makes this? Why is
How
this
the
special?
fuck should I know?
that like it makes no sense.
Actually, hold on. I did write a segment about this because I was also quite confused about this. So I wrote, the Avatar detection test is so funny to me because Aang at this point can only airbend, but this test makes it seem like he can already control all 4 elements, which is a weird lore change. And then I wrote, sorry. Oh, no. It's later on.
It's
but
just that like they're drawn to him, I guess.
Yeah, it's just so weird. And speaking of Aang,
the way he escapes that room also is really stupid. Yeah. It's the worst shot thing. Like the shot is like half face, half shoulder, super close up of Aang, out of focus, focusing on Iroh and Zuko. And
can we not pronounce them wrong? Like, I know they did, but like we don't need to torture ourselves.
It's so funny. I get that the idea was that you're pronouncing it the way that the nations that they are influenced by would have pronounced them, but the source material is taking the influence and naming them how they feel they should be named.
Yeah.
Which means you should probably just listen to that. Like, Avatar is also a word, not avatar.
Like,
are you the avatar, Ong?
I'm like, I literally wrote that. I'm like, they have to be fucking with me because when they say Agni Kai, they call it Agni Ki.
Sure do.
And I'm like, no.
And Kai, again, a word.
Surely, like, this has to be the most expensive prank in the world.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you want me to take this serious.
Yep. But like it's this whole thing where like he then like jumps on the table, jumps on their shoulders, flips over, turns around, and then Zuko's like, wait, don't. And then Aang does like this dance move and pushes himself away. And I get that he changed the bending so that like you have to do these movements to build up ki to use your thing.
You got to do a whole dance routine.
Really stupid because it makes everything it makes everything so much less interesting because there's such a big build up now to such little payoff.
Yeah.
And so like it just doesn't feel natural. But we'll get to the bending later.
It's not, but also I'm like, so y'all are really just standing around letting this kid do an entire martial arts routine before he bends at you?
Yeah, like why
like fucking attack him.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Yeah. And there's the whole scene later on where like they're freeing Earth Kingdom villages. And there's that like dude with a sword who's just standing there like while Aang's doing a whole like thing.
Yes.
It's literally like 10 seconds of a scene of this guy standing there doing this for 10 seconds while Aang's doing this whole like movement and then shoves him with air and he goes flying. It's like, if you just ran up to him, you would have stabbed him.
Yo, I don't know why that scene needed to be a long take because it literally hurts them more than it helps.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I wrote this down where I was like, for a fight scene.
All the fights are so bad. Except for the one with Dave Patel training. That one's good.
So for a fight scene to wait, the one that where he's blurred in the background?
No. The one on the boat with the 4 people.
Okay.
Like that's the only good fight.
Yeah, but for a fight scene that you want to have it be a long take, and you want to be like, look how impressive this was, this fight choreography and my filmmaking. one, you have to have good fight choreography. That is important. But also, there has to be like tension, push and pull. There has to be a goal. I have to know who's winning and who's losing. Not just people standing around, not reacting to anything because it's CG. And then when it's their cue to move, they move.
The whole sequence with the Blue Spirit breakout, where there's just so many people standing there not doing anything when they could be stabbing both of them.
I watched this movie, I think, like 3 other times before, so this is my 4th viewing. This is the first time I realized that Aang, when he is locked up, is at the Northern Air Temple.
Sure is.
I literally never realized that before, and I was like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah.
Because everything is so poorly communicated.
Sure is the Northern Air Temple.
And I didn't realize it, and I was like, what?
Yep. Also, there's so many less avatars in this universe. That room of the circle room, so many less avatars.
Yeah.
There's also like so many shots where you could tell that like they were supposed to have bending in them, but they just don't. And so they're just
Aang and Katara doing routines next to each other with no water. Actually,
or when she's doing it on the brook.
Oh my
God. There are multiple times where you're like, so there is totally supposed to be bending happening here, right?
But I'm like, I was thinking about this while I was watching it, because I'm like, is this better than just cutting the scene?
Because it shows that they're training.
Because, and it's so funny, because the first time we see it happen, I'm pretty sure, is, of course, a Katara voiceover narration.
Yep.
And she's like, Aang was having trouble waterbending, and it shows him not waterbending, which I thought was really funny.
Yep.
But then it immediately shows Katara also not waterbending.
Yep. Sure does.
And I'm like,
hey, if this movie did anything, Aang learned to waterbend in the first book.
He at least trained.
Netflix, he did not learn
He at
waterbending.
least fucking trained.
He did not learn waterbending.
Holy
by
shit.
the end of the first season of Netflix. But boy, this Aang has won over the Netflix one. He learned water.
Yeah. But sorry, if I could just go back to the
go
fully realized avatar statement I was making earlier. So this test is to see if you're the avatar.
Yep.
But at this point in the movie, everyone that knows that Aang is alive and the avatar thinks he's a fully realized avatar and thinks he can bend all 4 elements.
Yep.
And I even wrote this note being like, because when Zhao tries to capture him, it's like a trick, right? In the Northern Air Temple. And I was like, wait, but doesn't Zhao assume that he can bend all 4 elements? Like, isn't this a fucking terrible plan if he was a fully realized avatar? He would just fucking beat all your asses. No problem. And then the movie confirmed to me that Zhao thought he was a fully realized avatar. And then he was like, oh, good thing you can only bend air, because I really thought you were out here bending all 4 elements. And I'm like, but that was still your plan?
Also, that guy, when he's like, sorry, just takes out knife slightly, and you're like, you're an old dude. This guy is like a master of, like, at the very least, knows how to fight. And he has a staff on him. You can just knock that shit out of your hand.
Like, the plan is so awful. And Aang really just lets himself get taken. He's like, oh,
like, there's no reason for that guy to take out a knife. You just had to have all the archers take out their fucking... you just cut that part out. It would have made more sense.
No, it's just...
Like, in no character... Again, nobody talks like a human.
No.
But, like, there's no such thing as understanding a character motivation. They just tell you all of their thoughts and feelings and motivations.
Yeah.
Like Sokka being like, I know you think everything works, turns out okay, Katara, but I don't. I don't see it that way.
My
and you're like,
God.
uh-huh. The funny guy, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Also, I had to look this up because I was like, in certain scenes, I was like, why does Sokka look so old?
Oh, yeah, he was very old.
Compared to, like, everyone else. It's actually jarring. So I looked this up. Sokka, who's played by Jackson Rathbone, at the time was 26 years old.
Yep.
Katara and Aang were 15 and 14. Zuko was 20. and Princess Yue, because I was like, she's also like a younger cast member, so I'll just lump her in there, was 19.
Yep.
Why the fuck did they make Sokka such an old actor? Like, pick someone younger.
Yep.
He looks like a grown adult. He could be Katara's dad.
I think, didn't he lie about being like of Inuit descent?
Yo, that would actually be so funny.
I think he did a Taylor Lautner.
Mans is whiter than white bread. Like,
I might be wrong, but
he did a Taylor Lautner, lied that he was Native American.
Yeah. There's also like this movie, funny enough for how unfunny it is, could have been a great comedy because the amount of times that there is deadpan delivery of I'm not gonna go with you, I'll burn down the village, okay, I'll go with you, proceeds to walk on to Zuzu. Like that's the entire like dialogue exchange.
Yeah.
Is Cameron Aang, I won't go with you, cut to Cameron Zuko, if you don't I'll burn down this village, cut back to Aang, all right.
Yeah. And it's weird. Every single conversation is either shot, reverse shot, one camera on both people, or a weird version of like a tracking shot because someone's walking. And I noticed this during the Zhao and Fire Lord Ozai convo when we first meet Fire Lord Ozai. They literally, Ozai comes into the scene, walking in. Zhao comes and walks beside him. Talk. Ozai stops, turns around to face Zhao. And then it's shot, reverse shot. And then he turns around again to keep walking. And then turns around again for shot, reverse shot in the same hallway.
Yep.
In one scene. Who
sure does.
Who filmed this and then put it to be edited and was like, yes, this is it.
Whomst thought this?
Like, I the fact that a movie is made by like, especially a movie of this scale,
so many people,
because supposedly this cost them $150 million to make, which I don't know where you put $150 million. Like, unless you guys shot way more stuff, but shit went and got like hella cut up, because that has to be the end result, because there's no way this was A to B in terms of plot and character development the entire time. So unless you guys just pissed off like $100 million on nothing because you couldn't use it.
Well, let's be real, it's a lot of it went to the CG.
Really?
Hey, the effects are solid enough.
They're
boring, but they're solid. They look fine.
I think they look fine. It just doesn't help that everything is so slow.
I mean, yeah, but like the effects do look good. It's just there's no weight to them or anything. But but they look good, which means that does take a lot of money. Yeah.
But I'm just like, what the fuck did you guys spend all this money on? Because it wasn't literally anything.
Yeah. I'm trying to
even the like establishing shots are so boring, especially the Fire Nation. I'm like, they live on a nice open plain. That's interesting.
I mean, yeah, they definitely made it like Sahara-esque.
Which is weird. I'm like,
it is, but like, I don't know. Out of
okay,
all the other changes, I'm like, whatever, you know?
I know, but it's just, you know, when things stack up,
yeah,
and then things just become like this breaking point where you're like, I literally can't take it anymore.
Yeah, it's, you know, what's funny, like how when you're talking about how like this movie feels like it takes forever, but yet the pacing's like lightning fast. Like, there's no context to a lot of change, like pacing, like from one shot to another. Like, if I remember correctly, Aang says he has to go home multiple times, but never specifies where home is. And then he gets onto Appa after escaping Zuko's ship, and the two are like, "We're going with you." And he's like, "I gotta go home." And they're like, "Okay, we're going." And they're going where? He's never specified.
Yeah, it just
where
cuts.
You're going, and then it just cuts Southern Air Temple.
Come on, like, it cuts, and then with bland white text, it says Southern Air Temple.
Like, it's never stated that he's going there. So like, they have no idea where they're going.
That's another thing that's really funny about this movie is that if you have never watched OG Avatar and watched just this, if you went into this with literally no background information, you would not be able to follow this movie.
There's a weird complex of like things that you would only get if you watch the show, but also like there's a weird thing. The movie enters with the 4 element thing, like in the
silhouettes.
Show, but then is followed by black screen scrolling text narration. It's weird. You think that you would put narration over the silent people doing bending, because at least there's a visual.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I was like, why do we have a text scroll on a black background?
You should have just had the conversation.
And narration. Why did you not use this time to have like establishing shots of like the major locations we would see in this movie?
Right.
Was that too hard? You could have even reused the shots you already had if you were feeling really lazy.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Who was like, yes, black background, white text, also very small text.
Yeah.
I'm like, at least Star Wars, they blast that shit in your face. You can read it from a mile away.
Yeah. There's like, again, and with like the pacing too, it's like lightning fast, but going nowhere. Where in Aang going home means nothing because he immediately finds the skeletons. He doesn't like look around the temple and find the statues and talk about.
Well,
who
the
he's
statues
from.
they moved to the Northern Air
But
Temple.
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, I know.
You should have just learned that. But no, it's like
they find
I'm
the
back
demon
home,
Momo,
and then you just you immediately
corpses.
Yeah,
sweet.
Yep, just immediate corpses, and you're like, oh, I guess they all died here. And I'm gonna hesitate to say this, but the change in firebenders not being able to create their own fire, ignore that for a hot second, okay? I know it's hard. Ignore that for a hot second. That's how this world's always worked. It, in a way, makes sense in this world's perspective that the Fire Nation could wipe out a group of airbenders on Sozin's Comet because nobody would know that they all get firebending
Without
a source. So like in that one very specific case, I think that makes sense in this world, but everything following it, where they're able to take over parts of the Earth Kingdom and wipe out waterbenders and whatever, when they need a source of fire to do so, makes zero sense. I could understand the genocide as a surprise attack.
Right.
Everything else makes no sense.
So I was thinking about this as well because I was like, okay, I will detach from OG lore and accept that they have to have fire that's already there to manipulate it.
Right.
They can't create it unless you're really good. I think either you have to be like super extra good at firebending or have super fucking chi. I'm not sure because when Iroh does it, they're like, oh my God, he's creating fire on his own. But hold please.
That scene is stupid.
Hold please, because the scene where Zuko is trying to infiltrate the Northern Water Tribe, he does the whole melting of the ice with the palms of his hands. So, like,
I assume,
can he just create heat?
I assume they can create heat.
But that's the only time we see it?
Yeah.
Other than Iroh making his own fire?
But I guess, like, when else would it come up?
So I'm like, did you guys just break your own internal rule? Or did you do that on purpose because you wanted it to be a reference to the original show, even though it breaks your own internal rule? Or did you guys forget that you made that an internal rule, but not really because then you reference it again when Iroh is firebending? I'm very confused.
Unless it's just that, like, they can heat themselves up, but they can't do anything else. So, like, they can just make their hands really hot.
That's fucking stupid.
I didn't say it wasn't.
I
didn't say it wasn't stupid. I didn't say it wasn't. But yeah,
they can just make themselves nice and toasty.
Well, actually, they can do that in the show too. That's what the fire breath is.
I know.
They just can always be warm if they want.
Yeah, that's why Zuko doesn't fucking die.
Yeah, that's why Aang also can do that with air currents. But like again, in the world's lore, I can believe that they committed a genocide because I've seen people be like, "How the fuck did they do it?"
With the context of the comment, I agree. I could believe that.
Right. But everything else makes zero sense, especially when you have a group of earthbenders in an earth-based prison that there's a whole speech about why are you doing this? You're surrounded by Earth. You are surrounded by Earth. This speech doesn't make any sense because at least when Katara did it, they were on a metal fucking floating island.
And Toph hadn't created metal bending yet.
Yeah,
so
and so she provides the Earth to them and is like, now you can fight. But here it's, bro, they need a source of fire. One person create a little rock wall that tips over the fire, puts it out, and then you all stomp their asses.
Like post air nomad genocide, the water tribes and Earth Kingdom would have wiped them the fuck out.
So
like
easy.
they would not stand a chance.
Nah.
Because I'm pretty sure, at least in the context of this movie, lightning bending does not exist.
We only ever saw it in the second season, so we don't know.
But you know what I mean? So it's not like, I'm saying in the context of this movie, they don't have lightning bending because we never got 2 and 3.
Sure, but you could argue that in season 1 also.
And because if they had lightning bending, like if they can't make their own fire,
yeah, I mean,
how are they making lightning?
Probably Zuko or not Zuko, like Iroh and
the Fire Lord could do it.
And Fire Lord probably can because they can create their own fire. So
I guess. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if we're going with that logic of, like, they have to have fire already made.
Yeah.
Because you create lightning out of nothing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, there's no way they would have ever wiped out anybody.
Yeah, no.
Like
the Earth Kingdom
unless they also did the Southern Water Temple or Southern Water Tribe at the same time.
But they didn't.
Do we know that?
I know that.
In the context of the movie, do we know that?
Yeah, because if Gran says...
Excuse you, Grandma.
No, fuck you. If Gran says that the previous only person who was a waterbender before Katara, which also is a weird lore change because that's not true, but okay, was Hama. And Hama would have been...
Wasn't she part of the last group of waterbenders that were taken?
No.
Even in the original?
In the original, she was part of the raids.
Right.
And she was...
I thought that was the last group of waterbenders.
But was she from their same village? Because
yeah,
I thought she was
friends with Katara's mom.
She wasn't friends with Katara's
mom.
mom.
She was friends with Gran.
I don't think that's true either.
I think so. I think the flashback, don't we see her interacting with one of the members of her family?
No. In the flashback, you just see her as a young woman, and then they're fighting off, like, Fire Nation soldiers, and then you see, like, them fading away.
Let's move on.
But I'm saying, like, I'm pretty sure there was more raids afterwards, because Katara, when she's a kid, they're still raiding Southern Water Tribe villages.
I thought that was the last raid that had happened in a while because they heard news of a waterbender.
No, I don't. I think there was ongoing.
Whatever.
But
Let's keep going.
Anyway, what was I talking about? Sorry, I got off track.
Grandma was talking about. I think I was saying. Oh yeah, I was saying. Do we know in the context of the movie that they weren't also attacking the Southern Water Tribe during the Sozin's Comet? And you said Grandma brings up that.
No, they weren't.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it makes no sense that they would have been able to take over anyone else.
Yeah.
But then again, you need 6 earthbenders to do a dance to summon one rock.
That's true.
So maybe, but
which
like
is
still,
weird because in the context of that exact scene, you have the 6 guys doing a whole dance routine to lift one rock, but then you have other guys making an entire rock wall by themselves.
Sure
so what? This is such bizarre power scaling. I'm like, is that one guy just extra good? Because if he is, he could fuck up everyone by himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a posse.
Yeah, no, I agree. He threw a stone at us. It really hurt.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's just like, and again, the whole buildup with needing buildup of chi to do all your shit makes all the fights look bad because all the people have to stand there and wait for the thing to happen.
Stand around. It's just such a bizarre choice because not only do you have them standing around waiting
Yeah.
for the action to happen, but it's like, okay, if this was an actual fight, would you not just charge? It's not like most of the bending that we see doesn't feel like it's that strong.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's not like just knock him out.
Hell, even Iroh summoning fire from his hands doesn't
yeah.
even look like insane.
It's not grand enough.
And it's not even delivered in a way that like, because like he's just like, Zhao, don't hurt the moon spirit. And he like, there's never the whatever you do to that spirit,
I'll unleash on you tenfold.
Yeah. Like there's just like, Zhao, don't do it. You should never mess with the spirits or the spirit world. And then it's like, and then he does, and then he's like,
yeah.
And then they're like, he can bend fire without flame.
Yeah, he's creating his own fire.
Yeah.
But then he just lets Zhao get away.
Sure does.
I was like, no.
Although he does die pretty fucking brutally.
Iroh would fucking toast him.
Yeah.
If he's creating his own fire, Iroh would have toasted his ass.
Yeah.
But then Zhao's death scene, yeah, it's brutal, but like, why the fuck do I care about
4 random water
nameless, like Waterbender soldier number 5?
Yep. Just drowning him in a ball.
And
is brutal, though.
you could have finally had at least like this cathartic moment of like Zuko beating his ass, right? Because the whole movie he's just been getting like pecked at by him.
Yeah.
And Zhao's just being petty and throwing insults. Like you could have had at least like a little fight scene between them, and then Iroh's like, "No, Zuko, like don't let go of your honor now.
Yeah.
Like he's not worth it, right?" But no, you don't even give us that. You just get an immediate. Nah, we gotta go, boy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Back to the ship. We're done here.
It's also kind of wild when you think about it how many, well, actually every bending form could have the most brutal death. Waterbender just needs to make a water orb around your head drown. Airbender can rip the air out of your lungs.
Yeah.
Firebender can apparently just grab you and self-immolate you.
Toast.
And Earthbenders can just fucking crush you into the ground and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Just suck you into the earth and just go like this and
You're
crush
done.
you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they could all kill you so brutally.
Yeah.
I have like other small nitpicks where I'm like, the moon and ocean spirit don't swim in the yin and yang except for the very few 5 seconds where they're explaining
Did you
them.
mean yin and yang?
Oh yeah, yin and yang. Aang's reason for running away, so much stupider. It's just, I didn't bow.
And I didn't bow back.
Yeah, like it's not, he's not being told early because the Fire Nation's making moves. He's just told at this age like it's normal.
Yeah.
And he runs away.
Because I think that running away, like not having the context of a global war being like on the horizon.
And doesn't even know that in this Netflix show either.
True.
They don't tell him. They don't tell him early.
They just tell him that he's the Avatar, but not why.
Yeah.
But they know that the Fire Nation is like sneaking around.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't tell him.
They don't tell him why that he needs to know now. But yeah, but not having that context, it's just like Aang's like, I don't feel like
it's not like he was going to be taken away like he thought in the show.
Yeah.
He's just.
It's weird because in this version, him taking up the mantle of being the Avatar, right, and him bowing back, and
which is a stupid scene.
But anyway, so like him taking up that
stupid.
mantle and like the responsibilities of being an Avatar doesn't feel important.
Nope.
Because there's no like, if you don't become the Avatar, untold suffering is going to happen.
Right.
It's just, just so you know, you're the Avatar.
Yep.
And we're going to do a ceremony now.
Sure is. Also, the spirit telling Aang that the Avatar isn't meant to harm others. Ignoring the past Avatars, clearly in regular lore, absolutely murking fools.
Yeah.
Telling Aang that undermines Aang's own philosophies.
Yeah.
Because if the avatars aren't meant to harm people, it doesn't matter that Aang's a pacifist.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer his own agency. It is the job's agency.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes him way less interesting of a character, too.
But it's so weird because the way it's phrased is like it's a choice. Like, the avatar isn't meant to harm people, but you still could.
Yeah, by Dragon Spirit number 5.
Don't be evil, please and thank you.
Uh-huh.
Which I'm like, what?
Sure.
This is. Oh, also, I watched this movie before, but I just realized that when the Earth Village, Earth Nation, like colony people or prisoners, I'm not really sure. After they like help them run out the Fire Nation, they're like, "This is Avatar Kyoshi.
Yep.
You in 2 past lives, Avatar Kyoshi loved games." I'm like, why the fuck is this relevant at all?
We
like,
learned about
I would have,
Kyoshi because apparently that was Kyoshi Island, and we learned about Roku.
but it wasn't even an island.
Yep.
I don't understand.
Well, I mean, do we ever see that it isn't an island?
I'm pretty sure it's not an island.
I mean, we never see that.
I guess, but god
So
damn it.
There's no establishing shot to make you think it is or isn't an island.
But also, what's funny to me is that this land that they're on is already conquered by the Fire Nation. And I will say, I do like this idea that the Fire Nation takes away, like, bending scrolls from whoever they're conquering. So, you know, you can't teach it to the next generation or whatever.
Right.
I was like, okay, that's fair. That makes sense.
Right.
Good job.
Uh-huh.
But then you're going to leave up this Avatar Kyoshi statue, like, pristine? No, knock that shit down. Like, hello?
But
you guys can't have it both ways.
But if you burn it down, that inspires rebellion for destroying their things. But if
Hello, they're on a rock, dirt, earth prison, and they don't earthbend.
My response was also going to be, but if you do, if you don't take it down, they're also going to be inspired to rebel because
Like,
it's
you
there.
just don't understand.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways.
Yep. I'm trying to think what else is there. Aang hiding behind Zuko's back is some Looney Tunes ass shit.
Yo, this
In that fight, when you clearly, that is not how peripheral vision works. You would absolutely see Aang.
even like, I think I would have been more forgiving of this Looney Tunes, like, more slapstick fight sequence if it was when he was first captured by Zuko on the ship. Like, that, I could have gotten it. I would have been like, okay, adaptation for early season 1, cute, very young, a lot of physical humor, get it. Right? But in the context of this live action. But you're doing it at the climax.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Why now? Also, speaking of the climax, when Aang is like, correct me if I'm wrong, but based off of how it's shown, it seems like Aang is just like a fully realized avatar now and can control the avatar state based on solely how they show it in the movie.
Yeah.
Because he's just having this flashback of, like, the Avatar ceremony, and then he himself, of his own choice, goes into the Avatar state to make his fucking cataclysmic typhoon tidal wave.
That the ships just run away from. They don't even do anything with it.
Right. But you know what I mean? So I'm like, so you have full control of the Avatar state now, but you can only bend 2 elements?
Yeah, man.
What?
I don't see what the problem with that is.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you do that? And the music during this, like, grand climactic final scene where he's creating the tidal wave, I don't know if this is just me, but that music was way too serene for this scene. I needed, like, a much more epic, grand finale kind of music. But this music that they were playing was too soft and pretty, if that makes sense. Like, too whimsical almost.
Right.
That I was like, the music has taken me out of it.
There were certain
like, it's
moments
not
where,
engaging.
There were certain moments where the music was not matching what was
Oh my god, they
happening at
kept using this, like, super ominous, like, musical cue where it was like, right, short, just like
Right.
a little musical note.
all. Yeah.
But they kept using it in scenes that didn't make sense for it to be. Like, almost like, you know, like in a horror movie, they'll bring in like a little string or something to be like, ooh, what's around the corner?
Yeah.
That's what this music was. But I'm like, it was just scenes where people are standing around. I'm like, we're not discovering anything. Nothing's jumping out at the screen. Like, why are we using this?
Yeah. I messaged Sage this when I finished watching the movie, that I don't think, at least to my memory, I've ever actually sat down and watched this movie. I like to be an educated hater. Sage also does, as she said. But this is one of those movies that I had never seen anything from the movie that made me think people might be wrong. And so I just never bothered. I was like, you know what? I don't need to be an educated hater on this. I think everyone's right. And I am just going to I'll let it be.
Right.
You know? I had no reason to question anybody. And now that I've seen the movie, you can absolutely blind hate this movie. There's no reason to see this movie.
And you know me, I'm very against blind hate, but I think on this one instance, I'm gonna have to agree. Like, I don't think it's right to blind hate on Avatar, because that's just not fair. Like, they obviously put in a lot of effort, and it's not bad, right? They make choices that are certainly interesting, but the overall product is not bad, right? Whereas this live action Avatar is objectively bad as an adaptation, as a standalone movie.
Yep.
It's just...
Again, not even just a bad adaptation, a bad movie.
Yeah.
And it's not even so bad that you can laugh. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Like, I know so many people put in effort. I know people put in work. And I am going to mostly blame executives. Because, like, you know, costume-wise, I think there are a lot of grays. But costuming looks fine. I don't think it's very vibrant, but it looks good.
I was gonna say, I don't know why, and it's not even the costumes that are... Everything is very dull and muted.
Yes. But they do look good.
I think they look fine, but I don't know why they went with this really muted, dull look.
Yeah. But you can just kind of blind hate this movie. So, I don't think you ever need to justify going to this movie.
Let me just read you something I wrote in my summary real quick.
Go for it.
This movie feels like everything was done on the first draft and the first take.
Mm-hmm. There was never anything else.
Everything is so poorly crafted. The dialogue is bland. The exposition is extremely clunky. And the visuals are flat across the board. Like, I just don't know how this got made and then approved. And then they were like, yo, this right here is our big blockbuster. This is what's going to break Nickelodeon Studios into the blockbuster market. Yep. Hello?
Yep.
I just don't understand. Also, they should have known Jackson Rathbone was too old, because in 2008, he was already 24 when he played Jasper in Twilight. So
he was
it's
also in Twilight?
Yeah, he's Jasper.
Awesome.
But I'm like, it's not like it was a surprise.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's wild to be like, yeah, blind hate something. Because I think it's a really shitty thing to do.
I agree. I am not into blind hating, but this movie, I think, is the one exception where I truly will say you do not need to watch it. You don't even...
Anything you want to learn, you can just look up. You don't need to sit. You don't need to spend an hour and 40-something minutes experiencing it.
Yeah.
Unless you just want to see really bad filmmaking and learn how to not do it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Great examples of, like, what not to do.
Yeah. Guys, camera coverage is your best friend. Like, oh my God. You know the amount of shit you can make look pretty much like a lot better, arguably. Like, it will still be a shit product, but you can make things at least seem way cleaner if you just have more cameras, because cutting to different things makes shit so much better.
Yeah.
It helps flow so much. But I just finished watching the new Roadhouse with
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. That movie does a lot of things where they like morph shots into each other. There is a thing where it looks like the audience in like a ring fight is like glitching out while
I
they're
noticed that
fighting.
too.
I noticed it immediately.
It was
and then
really weird.
And then I literally went back 5 times to be like, is it
me or
the
is it
streamer?
actually
Is it like, is
happening?
it buffering?
Yeah.
And it was like, nope, that's just what it looks like.
I noticed
Those
that
fights were not good, clean. The camera work they decided to do with it was really weird.
it was like very unsteady, but
And it's
not
like blurry, but not like an out of focus blurry.
Not in like an intentional like shaky cam or
Yeah.
like handheld way. Just it felt like, okay, oh whoopsies. Let me just
that movie was fucking weird, dude.
zhuzh it a little.
That movie was so weird.
I've never seen the original.
It's so much more like self-contained.
Oh, I was gonna say I actually like that it's like a super small scale problem.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just this
She's
one
just going
fucking bar.
Yeah, but like but like there's a whole drug cartel. There's fucking.
He's not going after them. He's just going after the goons.
He does end up going after them.
I mean, yeah, but like the guy
Like
and the
Roadhouse,
dad's already in prison.
Also, it's like a cabana, like a tiki bar.
Yeah.
Where like
But huge
but like
and super.
But like the one in Roadhouse, the original Roadhouse, looks like a dive bar in the middle of fucking nowhere that like absolutely would be having people getting into fist fights all the time.
Right.
You know?
This bar, I just need to know how much money are they making that the owner of the bar is like, I'll pay you $5,000 a week
20 grand for the month.
to be our security.
Yep.
How much money is this bar raking in? To
Clearly
have,
a lot, because all that shit keeps getting broke, and she said that they keep doing that for months now, and she's still able to repair all of it.
which is just insane. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you sure you're not part of this drug cartel? Like,
Yeah.
or your beer
Also,
is
this
just
dude
really
just
overpriced?
gets away with so much murder.
Holy shit, I know.
So much murder. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, damn, no, they're all just like, oh, local town hero. We're good. We'll look the other way.
yeah, wild, dude. That movie is
At the tail end of our
Yeah.
live action Avatar combo.
fucking wild. I watched Wish, also bad. Today I also watched because work was dead. I went to the movies. I went and saw Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire.
Work was dead, so I went to the
Yeah,
movies.
I was gonna do a double feature, but I wasn't gonna make it home in time to record this. I was gonna do Ghostbusters and then Godzilla. But I saw Ghostbusters.
The Godzilla Kong
Yeah.
movie.
And that's another movie that like needed to be more self-contained. I don't know why they feel like these Ghostbusters movies need to be world enders. This one and Afterlife, although Afterlife at least felt a little like more cohesive.
I don't know. I've only ever seen the original Ghostbusters and
really,
maybe
really
the
neat,
second
too.
one, and that's it.
2 is fine. It's just not as good as 1. But
But I've never watched
Yeah.
any other Ghostbusters
I
content.
enjoy is a strong word. I gave this one a 3, and then I gave the other one a 3.5. Like, they're not anything to write home about, but like I do like what's her name? McKenna Grace's character. She's fun. I enjoy her a lot.
Sorry to cut you off, but just to put us back on track for like 2 seconds. Rating and review and recommendation for live action Avatar. What would you rate it?
Our system's out of what? 10?
Yeah.
Fucking we can't do halves, so 1, I guess. Because 0 doesn't really count.
Yeah. Would
So-
you recommend it?
No. I literally said you could blind hate this movie. I mean, no, one do not recommend, because 0s are a cop out.
Yeah. 1 out of 10. Do not recommend.
Yep. Sure.
Awful experience.
Awful. We could wrap up there.
Yeah. You just kept going, so I was
yeah,
like, please,
yeah.
for the love of God, Michael.
No, it's fair. I've seen a lot of movies.
I saw the
recently.
glisten in your eyes of like excitement. I was like, I gotta cut this man off.
Yeah. I've also been going through all the Rocky movies. Rocky 5 sucks. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, follow. Check our cat at Cat the Minstar on Twitch, and you have 4 weeks to watch
Konosuba Season 1.
Konosuba Season 1. Can you see that I didn't know that because, again, we're recording out of order, and I forgot to ask you prior.
No problem.
Konosuba Season... Fuck yeah. Love Konosuba.
I know. I always wanted to watch it, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to recommend it. And it's nice and short. It's only 10 episodes, so...
And Season 3's coming out. Like, next week.
Oh, damn.
Soon. Very soon.
Oh, okay. Well...
So, yeah. Also, the Spice and Wolf anime, I think, started.
Can we please wrap up this episode, Michael?
No. Anyway, thanks for watching. We will see you guys next week for whatever it is we talk about. Probably more movies, let's be honest. You and me are the movie people.
Yeah.
Bye.